everyone. Welcome to Inside the Birds. It's Adam Caplan on our fantasy special. It's my top 20 dynasty rookies. So if you have got your rookie draft coming up, this is my top 20 players. I'll explain why. I've got players where they are. My list is probably going to be different from other people's because I see it differently. I'm taking it from a analytical standpoint, a contractual standpoint, because I specialize in contract evaluation. And also because I was in a keeper league for like 20 years, I switched over to Dynasty, but I kind of know how to build these teams. And yes, it starts at running back, but you could change it up. You also have to know your scoring. Most leagues are PPR or half a point PPR, but it changes, year by year about how you decide you're going to do it. But the bottom line is, you got to kind of know it's about the future in Dynasty or any league where you're keeping players. And year one is year one, but you're doing it for years more often than not. You're doing it for years 2, 3, and 4. So we'll explain that as we go along. But here's my list. So let's get right to it. My first player on the list is obvious. I don't know that AshtonJeanty is going to catch a ton of passes, but the foundation of this offense, Pete Carroll, the head coach, wants it to always start with a run. It starts, it ends with a run with Pete Carroll, and that's why I brought in Chip Kelly to be his offense coordinator. AshtonJeanty is that guy. He is a foundation running back. He's a volume running back in terms of carries. And it's going to start with him. He's going to score his touchdowns. And obviously, if they get a lead, he'll be the guy. You've probably heard me use this term over the years in Sirius XM Fantasy with John Hanson. He's a non-sharer. That's what I'm looking for. If I'm going to have this guy ranked number one, forget about sharing. I mean, if you really look at the Raiders' situation at running back, they've got to figure out who number two is. We know who number one's going to be. Sixth player overall taken in this draft. Will it be Zamir White, who's a power back? It would make sense that he would be the backup, but he's had a big injury history. He was drafted 2 regimes ago. He was drafted by the Josh McDaniels regime, and now we're on another regime here, actually the third of Zamir's career. It's a shame, but it is what it is. Our guy Dylan Lawby, love him as a talent. Hopefully he could help them on third down. You got Raheem Mostert, who also could help him on third down, but he's near the end of his career. So it's all about AshtonJeanty for Dynasty Leagues. Number 2, my favorite back for this draft, no offense to AshtonJeanty, but OmarionHampton is more explosive. The reason why almost every team I talked to had Jeanty over him is because Jeanty can handle more volume. There's a question with Hampton. Is he a 12-carry game guy, 15, 17, 18? Well, at least in year one, he won't have to worry about that because he'll be sharing carries with a veteran back who is brought in there, obviously, to sustain the run game. That's Najee Harris, who's making just over $5 million, but he's on a 1-year deal. Remember, it's a dynasty league. You don't select a running back in the first round if you're the Chargers from not to be a factor, not only this season, but going forward. So I'm not worried about the timeshare. Hampton's more explosive. But for years 2 through 4, he's going to be the guy. Hampton's the guy I want to build around my dynasty team. Number 3, I love this guy. He's going to be the team that's going to feature the run. That's with the Browns. That's Quinshon Judkins, the running back from Ohio State, who could catch the ball and check downs. He's got great size. He could handle volume. He's not going to share much. Jerome Ford will be their primary third down back, but he could catch it on first or second down. I believe for the future, you could hang in there with him to be your number 1 fantasy back. He's got the chance to do that under Kevin Stefanski. He fits what they're looking for. Number 4, I love this guy. Trevion Henderson, the best pass protection back for this draft. There's no question about it. He is a change-up right now. He's got to share carries and touches with Ramondre Stevenson. We know Stevenson could play on third down, but Henderson's a supreme pass protector. And he's a change-up back. He's explosive. You draft him as a number 2 fantasy back. He's not a number 1 yet. I don't know that he'll ever be a number 1, but he's explosive number 2. Love him as my 4th player on my dynasty rookie list. My top 20. Number 5 is Caleb Johnson. Now, why do I have him higher than maybe R.J. Harvey or Scatabo and some other guys? Because with Pittsburgh, it's all about, and always has been about, the run game. It starts and ends with the run game. 12 personnel with Arthur Smith. They're very happy, I know, with their revamped offensive line. They think this has a chance to be their best offensive line they put together in years. The big issue, though, is left tackle with Broderick Jones. He's got to be better. You got Fatano now, who didn't play last season, as the right tackle. Zach Frazier, they already think is one of the best young guard centers in the league. Isaac Seumalo's been great signing, come over from Philly 3 years ago. And Mason McCormick's been a big surprise for them. They drafted him to be a backup. Now he's starting at right guard. It's going to be a three-headed monster, so to speak, at running back with Jalen Warren, he's sort of the de facto starter. Caleb Johnson backing him up. Kenny Gainwell will help on third downs. He's a really good pass protector. That's why he's there. But long term, years 2 through 4, Caleb Johnson should be the guy. Draft him as your second back for the future. Number 6, Tet McMillan, the receiver for Carolina. I know they've got a lot of receivers, but the Panthers know this is the guy. He's going to be the true X receiver. For the long term, they've got to figure out how they're going to use Xavier Legette, who's very raw. He could play X, but you can move him around. You can play him inside. He's explosive, but he's raw. Jalen Coker's a nice player. He doesn't run all that well. McMillan's just go-get-it football receiver. I like him for the long term. Now I like what they're doing here. What Dan Morgan's doing for Bryce Young. McMillan, Legette, Thielen, Coker has been a great story. Jimmy Horn, who's more of a slot receiver. Chuba Hubbard, who's been a great story of development, coming out of nowhere after he struggled early. Trevor Etienne will be a changeup. They brought back Trumbull. Sanders is an F tight end. They've got plenty of help on offense to help out Bryce Young. McMillan, I like him as an X receiver, sort of like Drake London. I like this player a lot. You could draft him as your number 2 fantasy receiver for the future. Right after this one is Travis Hunter. Now, the Jaguars claim at least this season, he's going to spend most of his time at receiver. I get that. That makes him at least a top 10 rookie dynasty draftee. But the problem is you don't know past this season. To me, it's questionable where he's going to play. Now, the head coach has heavy say in personnel. It's not technically his decision, but when you look at it at receiver, right now in that room, Brian Thomas is their X receiver. Hunter will be their Z. They'll move him around. De'Ami Brown will, once they get Hunter up to speed, Brown will be, and he's on a 1-year deal for a lot of money. They'll have a rotation going, but Hunter, and talking to receiver coaches who grade him for the draft, most explosive receiver for this draft. He's a better route runner than you think. Run after the catch. Interesting player, and Gabe Davis is on the team because of the money he's making. If his salary wasn't guaranteed, he wouldn't be there, but he's there. Hunter, you draft him as your second receiver, but the problem is, folks, he may be playing corner in the future after the season. That's the drawback. If you want to play it safe, let him drop. Let him drop to the second round of your rookie draft. But he's so explosive, he could have a huge rookie season. After him at number 8, I've got R.J. Harvey, the rookie running back for the Broncos, who's explosive with a ball in his hands. He can catch the football. You don't have to worry about too much of a timeshare. When you look at his situation with Denver, I know he's got to learn how they teach blocking there and their run scheme and all that. And Aldrich Estime is a bigger back, but he's not explosive. When you select a running back in the second round, like the Broncos did, that means R.J. Harvey is going to wind up being their starter at some point. Draft him as your number 2 fantasy back with upside for the future. Number 9 on my list is Cam Sketabo. I'm not worried about Devin Singletary, who really has no juice at all. He's a backup for them. They know that. He was signed to be a starter. That was a mistake. Tyron Tracy was a great story of development, but they know for the future he's not a starter. You got to hang in there, though. If you've got Sketabo, he's got to work his way up the depth chart. But again, about Dynasty, it's about years 2, 3, and 4. He'll wind up being the starter down the line. I like him as my number 2 fantasy back of the future, and he can catch the football. Rounding off my top 10 is Matthew Golden, the rookie receiver for the Packers in the second round. He's explosive. He's more of a number 2 NFL receiver, a Z receiver. He's not an X, not big enough. Remember that Watson is coming back from Christian Watson is coming back from the torn ACL. Romeo Dobbs is on the final year of his rookie deal. Dontavian Wicks did not do as well as people thought he would do last season. So when you look at it, Golden could start year 1. Jaden Reed is more of a slot receiver. I'm not ruling out Golden starting. Excuse me, Golden was drafted in the first round, not the second round. He should have been drafted in the second round. He's a little bit overdrafted. But Golden is explosive with the ball in his hands. Okay route runner, talking to receivers coaches, but be patient. He has a chance to be a pretty good number 2 fantasy receiver. That's Matthew Golden from Texas. That rounds out my top 10. Now, by the way, before we move on here, I do want to let people know the next time I'll update this list is after the veteran camps are done around the National Football League around mid-June. I'll have all this information from clubs, and I'll have a better idea of how these guys did in their offseason program. So that's my top 10. Jeanty won in my rookie Dynasty League rankings for your drafts. AshtonJeanty at 1, OmarionHampton at 2, Quinshon Judkins at 3, Travion Henderson, my 4th guy. Love him. You got to be patient with him. Caleb Johnson, 5, Tet McMillan, 6, Travis Hunter, 7. Again, you can make a case to be in your bottom 10 if you are worried about after year 1. R.G. Harvey at 8, Sketabo at 9, and Golden at 10. That's my top 10. And this list is brought to you from our friends at Stretch Zone. Faithful listeners to ITB know that I've been a proponent for Stretch Zone since I walked in there in December of 2021. I play tennis 3 to 4 days a week all year. I could only do it with my help from Stretch Zone. I'm there twice a week. And in fact, what I like to do for those of you who are playing in tennis, and it's a spring now in USTA like me, and I'm playing in doubles, I like to go right before I play. I usually go an hour or two before I play. So I'm super loose for my matches. And then for those of you who play pickleball, you know it. Being flexible for the short area where you have to stop and start in pickleball, whether you're a kayaker like my wife or like my business partner, Jeff Mosher, he's a jogger. You want to be nice and loose. And by the way, you get your free 30-minute stretch. When you go in person, so they give you sort of a questionnaire. It's about 15 minutes. I want to know if you come back from any surgeries or if you had any surgeries in your career, your life. And you just tell them about what brings you in there. And what I typically do is I get my hamstrings and for tennis, I get my traps done, which is your upper shoulder. I get both of them done. And I get my neck stretched out as well, and my quadriceps every now and then. But the bottom line is, if you're in racket sports, I highly recommend them. I'll never be without them. They've done a great job for me. I cannot recommend them enough. And by the way, if you want to do it in person, you can. For signing up, you can go in there, just walk up, tell me you heard it from here. Adam Caplan, Inside the Birds. Get your free 30-minute stretch. You could call your nearest location, or you could sign up online, whatever your easiest convenience. And by the way, they're open 7 days a week. Now, they're open most holidays, not Christmas or Memorial Day, but they're open most holidays, which is very convenient. Monday through Friday, most are open till 8 o'clock. Sunday, they're open till 4. I've gone in there at 3:30 before on Sundays. So just sign up for your free 30-minute stretch, and trust me, you'll feel better. All right, my bottom 10. Let's get right to it. At number 11, I've got Colston Loveland from the Bears. I know that pick shocked a lot of people, but you got to think outside the box like Ben Johnson. Their head coach, their play caller, who's a lot of say in personnel. Ryan Poles makes the call, but Ben Johnson's got a lot of input. Now, here's the problem here, if you want to think, and why I don't have in my top 10. Moore and Odunze are their top 2 pass targets, right? Moore will be number 1. Odunze should be number 2. Luther Burden will be their 3rd receiver, okay? So there are a lot of mouths to feed, and Cole Kmet's their Y tight end. He's their inline tight end. He's an athletic Y. A lot of mouths to feed. Now, even though I just mentioned all that, Colston Loveland, folks, they spent the 10th pick overall. You got to count for that. You got to get the guy the football. So hang in there. He'll eventually be a starting fantasy tight end, but understand his upside is capped a little bit. But he's explosive. He's just not as physical as Tyler Warren. Warren is more complete, but Loveland is more explosive. Moving on to number 12, I've got it. Emeka Egbuka, the receiver from the Bucks drafted. Now, he's another guy you got to hang in with because Mike Evans is unbelievable. We know he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. He's still there. He hasn't really slowed down. He's got great chemistry with Baker Mayfield. Now, they've got a new offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, who's a young guy in his early 30s who's never called plays before. So that's a slight concern. But Egbuka could play. He'll either be their Z receiver or he'll play the slot. Now, Godwin's their slot receiver. He'll eventually, he'll replace Godwin down the line. Now, Godwin has a 3-year deal with a 2-year structure. I would be surprised if he came back for year 3. Ibuka is essentially going to replace him down the line, and McMillan will eventually be their Z receiver or their X, depending on when Evans retires. So they're absolutely loaded, and you just got to hang in there with these guys in the second half of your Dynasty League draft, or you're late in the first round, early second. You got to understand that once you get down the line with receivers here, they're going to start competing for the football. All right, the next guy on my list is Tootin, the running back the Jaguars drafted. This is another guy you got to hang in there with. He might not be a factor early on here. Now, remember, ETN's on the final year of his deal. He's on year 5. He's on his 5th-year option. He was not drafted by this regime. It would stun me if they signed him to an extension. Tank Bigsby was a 3rd-round back 2 years ago, a third-round pick 2 years ago. Bigsby is a power back. He's a short yardage back, but he's not a starting level running back for the future. So Bigsby to me is a nice backup running back. I like Tootin. He's got a chance. If you're hanging there with him, I know he's only a 4th-round NFL pick. So 4th-round picks, just so you know, folks, that's more of a backup round with upside. Low-end starter, high-end backup. That's the way NFL teams see it. But it doesn't mean, if you really look at it again, this regime did not draft the other 2 backs. This regime drafted Tootin. So Tootin has got good enough size. He's very fast and explosive. He can catch the football. Hang there with Tootin, and you've got a chance to have a starter in years 2 or 3. Next up is one of my favorite receivers for the draft. That's Kyle Williams for the Patriots. They love this guy. Talking to receivers coaches around the league, he was one of the favorite guys. Like, depending on which coach you talk to, he's either like the 3rd or 4th guy that they talk about. Explosive, one of the most explosive receivers on tape. I don't care what the 40 time looks like. The tape is better, and he has a chance. I know they've got a receiver group by committee, but when you look at it, folks, with the Patriots, down the line, Douglas should be their slot receiver. They're outside receivers. For the future, we're talking now. Stephon Diggs is going to probably be there 2 years. He's come back from torn ACL. Let's not forget about that. But the long-term receivers figure to be Jalen Polk and Williams and Pop Douglas to be the slot receiver. Hanging there with Williams. He does have a chance to start this season, but it's more for the long term with Kyle Williams. Next up is Tyler Warren. He's not as explosive as Colston Loveland of the Bears, and multiple teams told me, I put this on my first mock draft for Inside the Birds a couple months ago, that a couple teams told me that they had Loveland over Warren, but they acknowledge that Warren's a more complete tight end. It just depends on what you want. The reason why I don't have Warren higher, although he's not competing for the ball like Loveland is as much, is that what bothers me here is the inaccuracy of Richardson, the quarterback, and that to me is a problem. That caps Warren's upside, but the bottom line is he's a talented guy. He's a 3-down tight end. He'll be okay, but he's a low-end fantasy starter. You got to hang in there with him. You got to just see what happens. Next up, Trey Harris. He's a chance to be their long-term X receiver. I don't care about that Mike Williams is back. He's not much of a factor. He's near the end of his career, 30 years old. Boy, his time passed. Quentin Johnston right now is their X receiver, but remember, he was drafted by a different regime. Trey Harris was drafted by this regime. He's a 2nd rounder for the Chargers. So for the future for this team, it's Ladd McConkey as their slot receiver. Trey Harris will be their future X. He certainly could play the Z, but he's more of an X receiver. So he's got a chance to be a rock-solid 3rd fantasy receiver, if not better, if you hang in there. Next up, Jaden Higgins of the Texans. Higgins, the only problem with him is a couple things here, actually. A couple things. You got a first-time play caller, Nick Haley, who's going to run his version of the Rams offense. Now, the problem is there's duplication here. Higgins is more of an X receiver. Well, that's what Nico Collins is, who's a stud. So we got to see how they're going to do this, and Kirk will play the slot. And Tank Dell, his future is clouded. He's on the 3rd year of his 4-year rookie deal. Very good, very realistic chance he doesn't play this season. Devastating knee injury. may never be the same. So that's why they drafted Higgins. And Higgins, to me, they got to figure out how they're going to do this. So maybe he's their Z receiver now. It's kind of big guy to play Higgins to play the Z position, but and also they're going to be more of a ball control offense, I think. But if you're willing to hang in there, he's got a chance to be a pretty good third fantasy receiver. Next up is a guy that you got to think future for here. Not going to be much about this season. Jadon Blue, who's a 5th-round pick. I don't care that he's the 5th-round pick. Past this season, okay, when you really look at the Cowboys situation at running back, you've got Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders on 1-year deals. I know Blue's not the biggest guy in the world, and they're going to have to pair him up with a power back for the future. But Blue is so explosive. Anytime he touches it, he got a chance to take it long. Draft him as your 3rd fantasy back, and he could really pay off dividends for the future. You just have to see the future here. It's about years 2 and 3 for Jadon Blue for the Cowboys. And finally, Jack Besh at the 2nd-round receiver for the Raiders. Now, I know their passing game. We know that they're going to be all about the run game with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. But think about it. Jacoby Myers was signed by Josh McDaniels in that group 3 years ago. Trey Tucker was miscast. He's more of a number 4. They're very light at receiver. Jack Besh should be a starter for Chip Kelly. He'll run. He'll go back from 12 and 11 personnel. He'll play plenty. You just gotta be realistic. The numbers may not be big as you'd like, but he's got a chance to be a low-end 3rd fantasy receiver for you. Absolutely, he can. So here's my list overall. Number 1, AshtonJeanty. Then OmarionHampton, who I love. Quinshon Judkins for the Browns, number 3. Trevion Henderson, number 4 for the Patriots. Caleb Johnson, number 5. Steelers. 6. Tet McMillan, receiver for the Panthers. 7. Travis Hunter, Jaguars, at least a receiver this season mostly. 8. R.J. Harvey. 9. Cam Scatabo. I love him for the future. They just got to figure out how they're going to work this committee out. 10. Matthew Golden. 11. Colston Loveland. 12. Emeka Ibuka for the Bucks. Let's see. We've got it 10, 11, 12. 13 is Tootin, the running back for the Jaguars. Kyle Williams, the receiver for the Patriots. Tyler Warren. 15 for the Colts. Trey Harris. I love him. He's another guy. I know they're going to have a ball control offense, but when they throw it, he'll be the future X receiver. Trey Harris. 16. Jaden Higgins. 17. Jadon Blue. 18. Now, Jack Besh. 19 or 20, depending on. I may have forgotten a number here, but we're going to throw one in here anyway. A bonus one if I messed up the order here. But let's stick in Pat Bryant. Now, Pat Bryant, I want to add here. He's another favorite of a lot of receiver coaches. The problem with him here, year 1, forget about. There are too many mouths to feed. Cortland Sutton, Mims, Vele was a great story, and Troy Franklin. But Marvin Mims does not command the ball out. He's explosive, but you're not going to get a lot of pass targets for the future. Troy Franklin is another guy, not a lot of pass targets. Pat Bryant is an X receiver. If they don't sign Sutton to an extension, he certainly could be the Broncos' future X receiver, or Vele can. But I think he's worth a shot late in your Dynasty League drafts. But the guys that my favorite guys, let me give you my favorite guys list, the cap guys, so to speak. Hampton, Judkins, Henderson, Scatabo, Kyle Williams, Trey Harris, Jadon Blue, and Pat Bryant. Now, Pat Bryant is it's kind of a wing and a prayer one. You need a lot to happen. But that's my list of my top 20 guys. I might have given you 21. So, hey, you got a bonus one if I went over it. But bottom line is, we'll talk to you on this fantasy report in mid-June, and I will have an update and give you what the coaches and front office executives said about their players through their offseason program. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll talk to you soon.